Currently, Zenless is celebrating the second anniversary, and this second anniversary is looking way too much good compared to the first anniversary, and it is also creating a rile up into the community of gacha games, especially people who actually love their mainstream gacha games such as the Genshin Impact, HSR, and Wuthering S. Those games cannot even do what the Zenless already been done into the second anniversary, giving us a free limited characters and also some other freebies rewards. If you really want to know more details on it, I already make a separate video on it. You can totally go to my channel and also check it out. You will know what kind of other rewards they are actually putting into this anniversary, and also some of those like other QQL updates. As per the title and also thumbnail, you already know that this video topic is going to be the Miyabi, and today we are going to see that if she is even going to be up to the par to this current meta or not. Well, why am I saying this? Because when she was actually released into this game, she was considered as a first Void Hunter, and Void Hunter are one of those like a class in this game, considered a similar level of the Genshin Impact Archons, a similar level of the HSRs of Eminator, and also similar level of the Wutheringas of Sentinels. So they are the most powerful wing, and if you really want to invest on a certain characters, investing on a Void Hunter in this Zenless 0 is going to be the best bet that you have to take it in the first place. They are going to be way too much relevant into the upcoming meta, and Miyabi was considered as the most longest running powerhouse that the Zenless 0 ever could do. And she was also kind of like creating an impact in a Zenless 0 when she was released in a half anniversary for the when the game was actually released in 2024. She was bringing a lots of new players, since she does have a way too much similar playstyle of our popular reference, which is a Devil May Cry from the Virgil. And this Virgil, this guy does not even only influence the Zenless 0. From this Virgil attack, we do have a lots of characters such as the Hyuki from the second anniversary Wutheringas characters. And for the Genshin Impact, we do have Ayaka, which is also reference to our Virgil. And the most amount of reference that we have in a single particular gacha games, which is not other than the PGR. And for that reason, PGR already make a particularly directly collab with the Devil May Cry in like a previous years. We already missed it out. I guess totally bad for you. But if you really love the Devil May Cry, that should be on your radar, and you should be totally try this out, because that collab was totally fire. Aside from the reverse, the character of originality that the Kuro games actually maintain into their PGR is actually phenomenal to see that. So that's a very much of interesting things that are actually happening in between this slide. Now for the Miyabi, she was considered as the most powerful characters, and when people actually investing on her with her signature W engine and also some of her business slot teammate, but her business slot teammate in alongside like 1.5 years later, so many things has already been changed. When she was released, she was consist of a Miyabi, Lycon, and also our free 4-star character, which is a Shokaku. But after some time later, she actually really required some other characters, off-field characters, to make her a pretty much a viable to that respective meta, which was a consist of Yuzuha and also none other than our Yanagi. Since Yanagi is, according to the lore wise, kind of like a partner for the Miyabi for her fractions, and as per the gameplay wise, she is also going to be generating the stacks for the Miyabi, what she is actually required for the first damage, or you can say the actual of a passive damage. So whenever she's fill up her stage for the Miyabi's case, she will actually going to deploy a judgmental card. You already know that, which is the most famous attack from the Virgil, and this is the attack really required some certain stack, and this stack can be done for your Yanagi to do that. Since Yanagi was kind of like also powerful character, she can be played as a support character and also battery generator for your Miyabi. And when the meta was actually evolving, that was the most powerful dominant meta that you might even ever see. But after 6 months later, we do have another first anniversary or pure first anniversary character, which is the Wishwan. But Wishwan is not even a Void Hunter character. She is considered similar level of a Void Hunter level character, so people are also somewhat of a considering her as a Void Hunter. So in gameplay or lore wise, they didn't even mention her. She is a true Void Hunter, just like the Miyabi and also our Ramiel. She is similar level of a Void Hunter, but up until now, shielding towards her and also the amount of like a gameplay already been changed into the end game mode, she is somewhat having her rough time to completing a certain end game modes. And when she is actually come up, she also comes up with another new mechanism, which is the miasmic mechanics. This miasmic mechanism is some of like another sheet what is actually appear to a certain enemies when the enemies are actually lower into a certain amount of HP. When this shield appears, this shield can be break by two types of requirement. And first requirement is going to be having a stun character. If you do have a stun character, you do have a higher chance to break the shield, and when the shield is going to be break, you are going to deal a huge amount of damage. That kind of things that the game is actually providing, which is kind of like a rewarding, since miasmic shield can be break by a restricted things, but if you're somehow able to break those things perfectly, you are going to able to fill up the damage that you might even do without the miasmic shield. You know what I'm trying to say here. But after that, if you do have a rupture characters, which is the another second requirement to break the miasmic shield, and they are the best things to do that, then you are going to be flooded with so many damage. That's why Wishwan also having her place into this current meta. But after some time later, people are thinking that Miyabi might be already lost her shine, but she is actually making her shine to the roof just because of some other new character also making her greater position to on her team, which is also going to be the Premiere, somewhat of a recent character, which is the ice damage dealer, and also comes from the anomaly characters. Another character such as the Nangyongyo, recent stun character, better for your Miyabi, since in Nangyongyo most of the damage is going to be developed around your anomaly DPS or anomaly proficiency increase, and Miyabi was the first true character which is does not even only revolves around the anomaly proficiency and anomaly mastery. She is similar level of the crit and crit damage, but with the anomaly you can consider as a pseudo DPS, just like the Acheron from the HSR, where she's the first character which is comes from the nihility. But before her we really thought that nihility was some of like a dot character where you doesn't even require the crit and crit damage to work perfectly. All you have to do, put them into a effective hit rate and also good amount of attack speed, you are going to be done with it. But for the Acheron case, she is the first character to break this rule and try to give us a crit and crit damage types of normal standard DPS types of things. And for the Miyabi, she is actually rising up just because of the new characters are giving her a what the thing she was actually missing to perform a better into the respective meta, or you can say the current meta. So we are going to see that how is she actually performing in a 1.5 years later into this current meta. So if she actually reruns, should you even pull for her or not, since according to the Padion tier list, she was holding a tier 0 position for a longest time, but sometimes later they already move her out from the tier 0 to tier 0.5, since she is somewhat of a having a hard time to cope up with the Yeshungang, which is our like a previous recent Void Hunter. But after that, currently we are having a Ramiel, and it is actually interesting to see that how the Miyabi is actually going to perform. Miyabi is actually way too much flexible character. If you are actually cope up with some other characters such as the Ramiel team with Miyabi also having her good amount of shining moments, since Ramiel total of a damage is going to be based around the anomaly proficiency and also giving the buff of attack and sounds like a defense signal if you do have a multiple concentration on her. Okay, I just totally yep all those things. Let's just say of my Miyabi build. For my Miyabi build, my status is going to be a warp around 53 crit and also crit damage is going to be 152. Yes, I don't even have her signature weapon, which is her best in slot things that you should get in the first place. And another important thing is that I'm totally using her best in slot eco set, which is consist of a double crit damage and also some of those like a defense. These are the things that you cannot even change it. Is in a game rules, you have to use it in a defense piece, but you have to use the double crit. I already rolled so much. This was the perfect things that I was able to manage it. And another important part is that 2-piece set damage is going to be the ice damage. See, she does not even comes from the total of ice things, because Void Hunter does not even comes along with the normal standard of elemental things. They always comes off with some extra or new element things, and she's somewhat similar between the iced and also forced burn types of damage. So that's why I totally use it up. But if you really want to use it, some of those like other kit and kit damage things, it would be actually helpful to deal a much amount of damage. And for the weapon set, I'm using a fusion compiler. I know that pen ratio doesn't even do a jack shit for her things, since I didn't even pick her up with her signature W engine. I guess I'm losing a way too much damage in here. But if you really want to make her use with her distance ultimate currently going to be centered around the Yuzuha and also the Nangyongyo and also herself Miyabi, then I guess you have to get her signature weapon. Getting a signature weapon is going to deal a huge amount of things that you have to know. For her best slot teammate, this team. So this team is consist of a Nangyongyo and also Yuzuha and also our Miyabi by herself. And this team is the best slot teammates for the currently. But if you don't even have a Nangyongyo and also Yuzuha, you can just totally replace one of those characters with the Premium, recently ice DPS characters, and also some of this like wind element damage are going to be on her kit. So if you really want to use the current best in slot teammate for your Miyabi to make her shine to the core, I guess using these three teams are going to be the best things that you have to do. And another important part is that you can totally see that is that character that you actually choose from here, is this actually going to be synergistic to each other or not, by just having to look at which is their emoji icon of a happy. So if the character is 3x3, it means that these three character does have their performance synergistic without having any kind of problem. So that's the things that you have to know. But before these two characters, we do have another character which is totally change her place, which is the Yanagi. Yanagi was actually helping a huge things for the Miyabi, since having her sub DPS capability which deal a huge amount of damage, and also giving her a stack what your Miyabi really required to do the judgmental cards, which is a passive damage. Since Yanagi also comes off into the standard banners, you can totally choose a 50-50 pull rate by having to lose on her if you really want to. That's the things that the game is actually providing it to you in this like a second anniversary. Okay, let's see our Shui defense clear and see how is she actually performing in a 1.5 years later, or you can consider as a year later. Another thing I totally forgot to mention is that for the Nangyongyo, if you don't even have her signature weapon, you are missing a lot of things. Yes, For these teams, it is kind of like quite expensive. You really require a Miyabi with her signature weapon, and also Nang Yongyo, which is a stun character. She is also required her signature weapon because her signature weapon going to give you almost like a 50% damage increase. She doesn't even going to provide a stun bar, or you can some other like a extra things for what a stun character do, but also going to give you a huge amount of damage, even better than the Yanagi. And also someone's like a competition are going to be happen between those two characters. Okay, let's start with the Nang Yongyo and use the Yuzuha's skill, use the Miyabi's. Yes, I already fill up our stacks and use her judgmental cards. And this endgame mode, man, is so much bad. If you cannot even clear within 1 minute with these cycles, I guess you cannot even get the full rewards. That's the thing, dude, you have to know. Okay, let's use her passive, just holding her basic attack. Okay, let's use her Miyabi's ultimate. Of course, I haven't even played the Zenless so much, so there might be some playstyle it's not even up to the par what you think it would be, so bear with me on that part. Use her Yuzuha's ultimate, and man, Yuzuha is the best anomaly support characters that you might even ever have. And another important part is that using the Yuzuha, damn, I just totally messed her up with the ultimate. I should have not used the ultimate on that already near to death enemies. Okay, here we go. Our parries. Oh man, I just totally missed that parry. But I'm not going to miss the second time. Ooh. Ooh. Man, that's the things what I really love for the GG's case. For the parry things, they just totally done it with a stylish way. Okay, let's switch up to my Nang Yongyo, and final character would be Yuzuha. I'm not going to use the ultimate for the Miyabi. After that, I'm going to use the ultimate. Yes, here we go. She's actually doing a good amount of damage, but man, it is not even up to the par level. If I do have her signature weapon, I guess getting the full score would be pretty much easy to deal with it. Okay. Man, I just totally missed the counter, or you can say the parry. Okay, here we go. The stun bar is already there. The final character would be our Miyabi. You can see that my damage is not even that high, and for the damage is not even high just because of I don't even have a Nang Yongyo's signature weapon, which can give a huge amount of damage just by having her. Yes, that's the thing that I already mentioned before, Miasmic Shield, and that Miasmic Shield can be break by of your parries and also stun character if you don't even have a rupture on your team members. Woohoo!
It's over.
What is over? Nothing is over, man. You already have to kill this boss within another 1 or 2 set of rounds. Okay, let's see. Another important thing is that I don't know how to play the Nang Yongyo perfectly. Sorry for my showcase is not even that good what you actually thought it would be. Okay, here we go. Okay, just totally use my Yuzuha, which can give me a good amount of anomaly things.
I swear on my
Okay.
blade.
Using my Yanagi, why am I saying this Yanagi? Using my Miyabi's ultimate.
It's over.
There. Done.
Ready for a good beating?
Man, I just really missed the counters there.
My blade is already shooting.
Okay. Using the Nangange's ultimate. Man, this team is way too much restricted. Without the signature weapon, they are dog shit. You can see that. I haven't even reached the 20k. Oh my god.
Now lie down. I see it.
And Miyabi's damage is not even up to the power level of the Yeshungang and also our recent Void Hunter Remiel. You can see that I haven't even get the score of a 25,000, which is the main score to get a full reward. Okay, I guess that's all for this lucky video, and also showcase to see that is our Miyabi is actually performing better or not. But if you do have a multiple constellation Miyabi, and also try to think about getting her with our multiple constellation with the signature W engine in this current endgame mode, Zenless is kind of like a way too much predatory compared to the previous versions. And currently, if you don't even have a particular character with the signature weapon, then you are going to be off limits with lots of things, and sometimes later you might not even have the things of your character what you actually thought it would be in the first place. You know what I'm trying to say here. They try to follow the path where the Genshin Impact started in the Nutland patch, and it is way too much predatory than ever. And that's all for this lucky video. If you like it, leave a like, and if you do have any kind of like a question regarding her current position after 1.5 years later, or you can say the year later, you can totally let me know in the comment section. I will be replying you there. And up until to the next video, peace.